All right, good morning, folks. We have a huge chapter today. I'm seriously considering breaking it up over 2 weeks rather than just plowing through it today. It is 135 slides on Windows configuration. So it's going to be heavy going. I'm thinking we'll probably do this over 2 weeks, but we'll take a couple of breaks and see how we get through it. All right, so let's kick off then. So basically we're going to be looking at the Windows operating system, and unfortunately a lot of this material is repetitive, and one of the ways I'm thinking of speeding it up is concentrating on the Windows 10 stuff rather than the 7, 8 as far as the desktop features. Looking at the control panels, how to just configure this. Now, a lot of this you probably do already, all right, because you've changed your resolution on your screens and things like that. So you probably already know some of this, but this will be a different look at what we've done. We'll also be looking at some of the commands in the command line interface rather than just through the GUI. We'll be looking at how Windows does networking, looking at preventative maintenance, and basic troubleshooting. So as you can see there's quite a lot to get through today. As I said, we probably won't get it all done, and you certainly won't be spending a great deal of time on the older versions of Windows. Okay, so as you can see there's 25 versions of Windows since 1985, and they come in Windows 32-bit and 64-bit editions. So Windows 7, then Windows 8, then 8.1, and then Windows 10 came out in July 2015. Okay, now I'm going, as I said, I don't know if anybody that's still running 7 or 8, Windows 7 officially lost support at the beginning of this year. Windows 8 lost it 4 years ago. 8.1 still got 3 years, well, 2.5 years of support. So Windows 10 will, it supports out to 25. The reason 10's out to 25 is businesses have only just really upgraded to it. They stayed on Windows 7 for a very long time. Windows 7 desktop should be all fairly familiar with. First introduced the gadgets, which were later discontinued. Windows 8 introduced the mobile phone unified desktop. So basically, support for touchscreens came in. And this is the look and feel that most of us have come to live with. So all of them support personal themes and apps, and you can change the settings on how the look and feel of your desktop feels, if you like. Yes, James, they did upgrade everybody for free. mainly so that they could get control of the security patches. One of the main problems with security out there was all of the pirated versions of Windows 7 that weren't being patched, and they were propagating a lot of viruses. So the rumor is Windows bit the bullet, did a free upgrade, and basically eliminated a lot of the issues that were happening with sources of virus for the Windows platform, because Windows Defender caught the older stuff that was running on Windows 7. Alright, the start menu, as you can see on the right hand side, it's pretty much the same look and feel of Windows 8. And along the left hand side you've got your core libraries or shortcuts. So you've got settings, documents, users, power on and off, and then on the next panel across is all of your applications in alphabetical order. So it's pretty much because of that tablet touchscreen interface that they introduced here at 8 that this look and feel has come around. You can still get access to this type of menu system. It just takes a little bit of juggling around. Windows 7. So the start menu can be adjusted under the taskbar settings in settings, and you basically turn off and on the various things. Under start, background colors, you can all adjust the various items in here and get it to look and perform the way you want it. Now, the best way of you working out what's the correct settings for you is to have to play around in that area. Now, the perfect place to play around with those settings is in your virtual machine, which doesn't affect the way your host machine behaves, and that way if you break something and can't recover, as I've said many times, you can just start that machine again. So task manager functions, performance, what processes are running. You can end processes, you can control the startup, you can look at what services are currently available and their status, whether they're on or off, what users are connected. Can do quite a bit through the task manager. Okay, so the task manager hasn't changed a great deal from 7. Looks a little bit different. For example, I'll just pull this one across. So, the borders and that comes from themes, but your applications, processes, services, they're a little bit different menus, but basically you've got your CPU usage, memory, network usage, and what's driving what. Okay, so my graphic processor or my main CPU, because I'm doing a lot of video conferencing at the moment, obviously the graphic processor is getting a little bit of a workout on how that resides. And I've got my gaming clients in there, antivirus, and VMware's kicking around in there. So performance graphs, CPUs, how your hard drives are performing. your various network cards. Now they're VMs. If they were doing anything, I'd be concerned at the moment. This is the network card. So you can use this to get quite a bit of information on how your machine is performing at the current time. Okay, so again, hasn't changed that much, as you just saw. There's just been a little bit of changes. File Explorer, has it changed at all? I don't think so. A little bit of look and feel, but it's pretty much the same as it always has been.
Good morning, everyone.
Oh, good morning, Tim.
That's
Welcome. We've got a painful death by PowerPoint session today.
Yes, I noticed.
Yeah, so we will be taking breaks, and I will be skipping a few of the older slides.
Okay, cool.
Concentrating more on Windows 10 than 7. Okay.
I like the sound of that.
Yeah. Look, Windows 7, 8, and 10 pretty much small graphical tweaks, but the functionality is pretty much the same. Okay, so Internet Explorer again. Oh, sorry, File Explorer. Basically, depending on where you click it in the menu system, changes the overview view of what you get. So if you click on this PC or my computer, depending on the vintage of your operating system, you'll get an overview of the recently accessed folders up the top or files, and then all your devices currently connected, and these will give you a summary of how much hard drive space is free on the drive out of a total size for the drive. So this one gives you a generic summary of what's going on, not specific folders. Now, some applications will need to be run as an administrator, and you have the option of right-clicking and run as administrator. Again, I highly recommend the day-to-day user account that you use is not got admin rights, and that will give you some protection from anything bad happening to your machine. Because if you pick up a virus or something like that, if your user account has admin rights, that virus has admin rights. Okay, just give yourself a bit of protection by not using it, and then using run as administrator as required. Standard Windows libraries are available for pictures, videos, music. Okay, and these are generally kept under the user accounts that is generated by default. So here you will see that they're hidden, and you basically have underneath your documents, you'll have the various user admin or user mark in my case or whatever, and then basically your documents is your My Documents folder, and then you got all your various music and everything hidden in underneath that as well. Now, the default location is on your C drive or wherever you've parked your operating system. So in most circumstances, C drive. Okay, Windows 10 has a limit of 260 characters for its nested structure. That includes the file name and extension. User and system file locations will be under users and the username for your documents, and then under systems folders, and that will be under the Windows System 32, System 64. Program files will be x86 or program files depending on its vintage. By default, file name extensions are turned off, but you can have them on by just clicking a button there in the view. And under the view, you also can set your various display characteristics on whether you want icons or details, lists, so the look and feel of how these things are displayed. And those settings are applied from that directory structure downwards, unless that's changed, because your attributes and that should be inherited from the parent. So as you dive down in, it should follow. File attributes, which you generally don't see by default, but you can actually hunt down and look at. And the common attributes are read-only archive, system for S, H for hidden. Now, the archive was basically how that works was one of the backup settings you have is archive bits. And basically anything that is changed since the last backup will have the A turned on, and the backup system would come along and back up anything with an A in its attributes, and then change that, turn that A off, saying it's been backed up. Okay, bit of history there. Good news is we've already piled through 30 slides. Oh, Tim, don't do that. Look, I've been up since 5:30. At least give me a break here, you know.
Yeah, you're doing very well. It's my fault. I'm glad that we've made it through 30 slides, so.
I've managed to put part 1 and 2 together with the new PHP slide pack, so I've got
Wait,
to do.
so because we're still doing 2 PowerPoints a day, aren't we? Or is that only in the Thursday class?
That's Thursday.
Okay.
No, this chapter 11 is huge on this. It doesn't have to be this big, but they've got so much legacy stuff in here. It just has bloated out this really bad.
Yeah.
So we will be taking breaks so that all of us can go get coffees, because James was saying he needed to go make another coffee earlier. So we all need to do that on occasion. So
I think I've got the captain on coffee this morning.
She's been kind to you this morning, aren't
she is. Yeah. I don't know what I did to deserve it, but I'm grateful.
Take the small favours as you get them, mate.
That's right.
Yeah. All right. Windows 10 control panels. On the right is the traditional one that I'm used to seeing. On the left is basically what you got now. And yeah. Work computer just beeping at me on the side. Okay, so we can do this view under settings, we can roll it back to legacy settings. But as I'm doing this, the more I'm getting used to adjusting to this. Because at the end of the day, somebody comes in that's only ever used Windows 10 and hasn't used legacy systems will be used to this. And if you roll back and talk about legacy views and things like that, it just confuses people. So I would recommend you adapt to the current operating system's defaults as quickly as possible, because the next generation of techs and people using it will be familiar only with the current operating system and the way it is by default. So the quicker we can adapt to the current settings and where to find current information, the better we look, basically. I mean, we're supposed to be the go-to people, and if we refuse to change, it doesn't look good professionally. Okay, control panel. Yes, system admins prefer the control panel. Of course we do. It's it gives us a lot more control, and we've been around a lot more. So, but remember, you can always search for applications and settings using the global search command down the bottom, and then it'll give you the best match that it comes across. So it gives you opportunities to find things. The small icon viewed against the category view, again, comes down to personal choice, and it is adjustable here in the view by. Okay, so up to you. Again, personal preference for me, only because it's legacy. This is what I'm used to seeing, and yeah, I still got lots of bad habits. Okay. Defining control panel categories. The names are pretty much self-explanatory as far as I'm concerned. System and security, so config, Windows Defender firewall, system settings, and that can be found under there. Networking, verify and troubleshooting, networking, file sharing, hardware, so your printers, your media devices, and all that in there. Then programming, the applications, install, change, modify there. User accounts, ease of access. This is where accessibility items are configured. So the roaming, magnifying glass for vision impaired, that sort of thing are all found underneath ease of access areas. Your clock and region, date and time settings and formats. Appearances, this is where you come in and make all those GUI adjustments. So like just your themes, so that you've got the dark background instead of light background, that sort of thing, you can all set in there. And I'm starting to lean towards the dark backgrounds and themes. Might be just because I'm getting old and my eyes find it easier to read that way. But I can assure you, after doing this for, I won't say that, longer than most of you have probably been alive, looking at bright screens, I will assure you, I didn't start off with these. I ended up with them quite quickly after doing 12 and 14-hour days with very little breaks in the early days. back in the early days, we didn't have the OHS saying you get up and move around every 15, 20 minutes and, adjust your focus and all this sort of stuff. We just didn't understand the damage that these things did to our vision long term. Okay, so take those into account. You've all done the occupational health and safety module. Yes, no. Hoping you've all finished it. Is it something I've got to go through and chase marks up? Late assignments?
Probably, but I did it in a different course personally, so.
Oh, okay, you're a credit transfer.
Yeah.
All right. That should have been all finalised at the end of term anyway. So, we'll wait and see. What we doing for time? 9. We'll go through booting. Oof. This section's got another 30 slides before the break, so we'll probably not get through this section before taking a break. Okay, thanks, Jacob. I might have to go back and mark them then, because I'm not even sure whether your teacher from last term is still kicking around, as I don't know the staff. It was Matthew or something?
He could have died.
Hey?
He could have got corona and died.
Well, I don't remember seeing a Matthew in any of the staff meetings, Matt.
Okay.
Okay. So, yeah, and anything's possible. So I'll just have a look in my learning and grade any of the ones that are there, because they'll start harassing us for results shortly as it's end of semester. So we better get all those results in. Okay, so user accounts. This is where we go add people in, add pictures to the account so that we can sort of put names and faces together, that sort of thing. We can set the type of account, so we can have general users, administrative accounts. We can add different privileges, add users to different groups that have different privileges and accesses to different things, all of which can occur under this panel. So here we sort of start adjusting where we want to be notified about changes to the machine. Only default things there is when programs try to change things on automatically, so we'll get a notification there. Credential managers is where we store and manage passwords and user accounts. So we want to kind of keep this secure. Don't know why. I mean, if it wasn't secure, anybody could get in there and change it willy-nilly, which could be a bad thing, yeah? So just be aware that credentials should be encrypted or mildly encrypted somewhere there. And you can access them via the credential manager and add and delete and modify them as you require. Web credentials are not safe for sites that are not Microsoft products. Strange about that. So your Chrome and your Firefox and that, when you tell it to save up your credentials for a site are saving it within their own file structure. Okay. Sync Center, again, name sort of says it all. So this allows us to synchronize files between different devices. We kind of use it nowadays with OneDrive, which is pretty much the same thing. So if we all synchronize up to OneDrive, then we've got the same files on all the machines via the cloud. So we're used to doing it via the cloud now, rather than using the Sync Center to actually do it. Network settings, this is where we come in and change our various IP addresses and adapters, and we can set up VPNs. We can look at what the current status of our connection is, whether it will give us connection off into the wild of the internet or whether it's just a local connection. If you've got this on tablets and things like that, you'll have your mobile hotspots, airplane modes, and other things that you would not normally find in a laptop. You would have an airplane mode in a laptop turning off your Wi-Fi, but you wouldn't have it on a desktop. Alright, so it's a one-stop settings for all the various devices that this operating system will go on. Internet options. The left one is where we start. It's the general tab, and we can set the home page for our browsers here. We can then launch from here into the other tabs. Under security, we list our trusted sites. We can have default zones and default security levels applied for us, or we can go diving down into custom levels and actually tweak each of these settings as required. Now, one of the things that you may want to do during here is turn up your pop-up blocker. Okay, that's under privacy so that you don't keep getting fresh tabs opening up on you all the time. Lots of the old ads and things like that used to pop up all the time. Okay, now under our internet options, we've got our secure shell language certificates, so encryption certificates via various publishers. We can adjust the settings under autocomplete, so whether we want it. I find autocomplete to be annoying. It's like adaptive text on our mobiles. Can be annoying. If we have any subscription feeds and web services that we want to download automatically, we can control that through our feed settings. The internet connection setup is where we can add various elements, so we can add our VPNs and things through here. If we need to set a proxy server or anything like that for corporate, we can add that here. And we can look at how we open links, whether it's always in the same Explorer or new tab. We can manage any add-ons to our Explorer. We can set our default HTML editor. Alright, so again, have a play. get familiar with the various options. A lot of these things you go in and you kind of set up once and forget about them. Okay. On the advanced tabs, you'll have all sorts of things that you can turn on and turn off by your accessibility, your browsing. Basically, just scroll down and turn on anything that you want on. I would suggest having them off as much as possible. Any service left running is a potential exploit. Okay. Network sharing. So this is basically where you can set up your home network, if you like, or if you're in a corporate setting, you can set up the corporate domain and connect to your various active networks here. And then it'll tell you how you're connecting. Okay, so it'll tell you that you're connecting by the Ethernet port. If you've got more than one, it'll list the various cards that you have that connect to it. You can turn on file sharing and set up what profiles match your sharing criteria. So you can share depending on whether it's a public or private network, whether you need passwords, that sort of thing. Most common share that Windows provide is via the home group, which basically generates a home group password, and you join members together via the home group, and then they share resources via this system. And we've basically been rabbiting on for just over 30 minutes. So, shall we take a 10-minute break? Because we're 45 slides in. All right, let's go get a coffee, stretch the legs.
How many slides are there in total?
There's 135 slides, Tim.
Okay.
But, yeah, it's a big chapter.
That's okay.
All right, I'm going to turn off the recording. We'll take a break and we'll come back and see
I'll
how
make
we
sure
go.
I make another coffee.
Yeah.